Welcome to Pet Partners. It's great to be back with all of you, and we're going to be talking about all the things that are going on at the Rutland County Humane Society and who's up for adoption. Here to tell us all about it is our friend Amelia Gardner from the Rutland County Humane Society. And Amelia, hi, it's nice to have you with us again.
Yeah, as always, it's always great to be here.
Yes, and you have a very nice young man with you there who has just been through a lot. Maybe you can tell us his story a little bit.
Absolutely. So this is Dawson, and Dawson is about 4.5 years old. He came to us needing a cranial cruciate ligament surgery, so it's kind of like a human ACL, and he just got that last week. So right now he is currently recovering, and he's wanted to kind of an excuse to get him out and about and stretch his legs today with a little bit of, resting as appropriately as he can.
And also, hey, let's not forget that it might make him slightly calmer, slower. I think we had a little rougher of an experience last time, right? So
a little different energy levels.
A little different energy level.
Yes,
this time around. So
he's a really sweet boy, and he's actually, I think his personality is pretty true. He's a pretty mellow guy. He does love to.
Regardless, he would be this mellow.
Yeah, I think so. He's a good boy.
Well, he's just been through a lot, and he seems like he's taking it in stride.
He is. He's a
really
good sport.
Sweet guy. Yeah, good
Always
sport.
has a smile on his face.
Good way to put it. Well, we'll talk more about Dawson as we go through the program, but whenever you're ready, we can talk about who else is available for adoption.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of kiddos right now. We're going to start off with our buddy Winston. Winston is a bulldog mix. He's actually, you've probably seen him. He's been on a couple times.
Yes.
He's been with us for a while, really since July. He's been with us. So he is about 5 years old, almost 6 years old, and he really is a big ham. He's a super nice dog. His big thing is he just can't go home with dogs, cats, or any small animals. So that's kind of been, I think everyone has animals, so it's been a big obstacle for him. But he would do better with older children just because he is a bigger dog, and so sometimes he forgets how big he is. So, for some small children, he just might be a little bit too much, but he's a really nice boy. He loves attention. He does have a pretty playful side. Most of his days he spends in the visiting room just playing with a squeaky toy, playing tug-of-war, usually by himself. Sometimes the staff will go in there and play around with him, but he's really just happy to have people around him.
Well, it's hard to play tug of war by yourself, so I think,
Winston
wins. Is ready for. He always wins, exactly. I think Winston is ready for a family, so he has someone to play tug of war with him.
He is more than ready, and he's
so
going to make
cute.
someone really happy. You just got to find that perfect home that doesn't have other animals that he's going to have to share with.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody out there that's been waiting for just their one perfect companion, and
I hope so.
Some people just can't have more than one, really, for whatever reason, or just want that one.
Absolutely, and he will keep you entertained plenty. He's got plenty of personality to go around.
I don't think you'd need anybody else. Look at him. He is so cute.
He's a funny boy. So the next one is Emily. Emily is just about 6 months old. She's just kind of a mixed breed. We don't think she's really going to get much bigger. She's about 15 pounds now, and we think she's going to stay right around this size. So she's a really good size, especially for people that want a smaller dog. If you want to take her hiking, anything like that, she's going to be your go-to dog for that. She still has that puppy energy. She's going to need socialization, good handling, just to kind of get her used to everything in the world. But she's very sweet, loves everyone. She's pretty curious, and every time she gets a little bit braver when she's encounters something new, which is really good to see in a dog. So she's just kind of spunky and goofy, and I think she's going to be a lot of fun. We really don't know too much about her other than she may be a little bit much for, some smaller kids, maybe cats, especially if you don't have a super savvy cat. She does kind of have that drive, so she might want to try to chase, but she's a really, overall, just really sweet, kind of charming personality to her.
She's adorable. I'm sure she'd be somebody's
Oh yeah, she wants to just be on your lap the whole time. Just a little wiggly for her. But the next one we have is Taz. So Taz is a healer Keeshond mix. So he is about 3 years old, and he's only been with us for less than a month. And He's a pretty cool dog. He's good with, he has lived with cats and has lived with dogs. I would say dogs that really kind of match his play style. He's very, very smart. Pretty high energy, so definitely needs a pretty active home that can really either just play with him. He's still kind of getting used to toys, and that just may be part of just still getting comfortable at the shelter. Because I think he was pretty playful in his previous home. And just somebody who's really going to be dedicated to get those, walks and to help socialize him. He does have a bit of anxiety, so working with him, if you aren't home and just kind of getting comfortable knowing that, you're not going to, if you leave the house, you will come back.
Right.
But really a sweet boy, and getting more and more comfortable with the staff and becoming, you kind of see more of that affectionate side of these dogs as they get more comfortable and kind of build that connection with all the staff there.
Oh, he's really unique looking. My grandparents had occasioned many years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them much over the years.
They're not super common. They really aren't, but really, really pretty dogs and very smart.
Yes.
Next we have Buckwheat. Buckwheat is a Beagle Dachshund mix. He is about 2 years old and he's about 26 pounds, so another really good size for people that want a smaller dog. You can
so
definitely tell he's
cute.
got the beagle in him.
Yes.
He loves using that nose of his. We don't know a whole lot about him. He did come in as a stray, but we have noticed he can be a little dog selective. Part of that is just, I think, he doesn't really have a lot of impulse control, so he just gets really amped up when he sees dogs. And but he's just a goofy personality. He's got a lot of spunk packed in a small amount of a small package, if you will. And but he's friendly. We don't really know how he is with cats or small children, but again, I think a lot of that is going to just have to do with the dynamics of the household to really know, and to know the breed, because as you can see, he really loves using his nose.
Yes, that's going to keep him busy for a while.
Yeah, but he's pretty easygoing. He's really kind of happy to hang out in the back with the staff, and just kind of, he likes being around the action for sure. So I think whatever you got going on, he wants to be usually just on the sideline hanging out, but happy to be there. And then next we have our buddy right here, Mr. Dawson. So he is a 4.5-year-old Catahoula leopard dog. And we kind of talked about earlier, he just had surgery, so he is on recovery. So we actually are looking for a foster for him. And, the biggest thing for him is he has to be pretty for the next about 3 months. He has to be kept pretty quiet and, frequent short walks throughout the day, but really no elevation, like no stairs. He really needs to be in a setup that's really like a 1-story, like on the main floor. And he really he has to be pretty mellow. Like he can't even get on the furniture or on any kind of elevated beds, which is, too bad. But as long as you can get some nice comfy things on beds on the floor, he's fine with those. And he's a really mellow guy. Even when, before he had surgery, when he was uncomfortable, he still just greeted the staff every day with just a bubbly, happy
Aw.
personality. When you take him for walks, he would, do his little zoomies and just kind of bounce and zoom around. He's a really sweet, sweet boy. And I think especially when he does feel more comfortable, he's going to be, I think, a pretty mellow guy overall, but I think you can still take him out and he's going to zoom around and want to keep up with people. But I think overall he's got a pretty chill demeanor, which is really nice.
And it's nice, especially for being such a young dog.
Yeah, he's got a lot of life left in him, and I think he's going to be very happy because he just soaks up the love. I mean, he'll sit there all day and let you pet him. So he's an easy dog to have around for sure.
So he is looking for a lot of love and affection and quiet peacefulness during his recovery, and then a lifetime of love.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he'll get a lot more activity in there after he is feeling better.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. Next we have Hannah. So Hannah is a cattle dog mix. She's about 2 years old. She is kind of a goofball. She loves attention, belly rubs. She knows sit, and I think she's working on some other commands. So she's very, very smart. Knowing the breed, they are pretty high energy dogs. So she's going to need regular exercise, whether it's fetch, which she does, although she's not showing it here, she does like to play with toys. And she loves going for walks, loves the outdoor time, so she'd be a great hiking partner. Another really good size, I want to say she's about 45 pounds, and she's another one that's just easy to bring along. She's very, very sweet, charming, loves everyone she meets. I mean, she just loves to give you kisses. And very eager to please, which is really good for training and, teaching dogs new things. Is when they want to learn, it's a lot easier to get them to teach them things. And she's a smart girl, and I think will make someone really happy.
She's cute.
She is, and she's got, some cute little tufts around her face, and she's a sweetie. And next we have a Diesel. So Diesel is a Boxer Pity mix. He's only 6 months, even though his face kind of has an old soul face to him, but
wow.
Definitely the puppy mannerisms. He's definitely needs to work on your basic, jumping and just good etiquette, leash manners. But overall, he's just a really playful, goofy guy. He did come in as a stray, so we don't have any history with him with dogs or cats. Or kids or anything, but seeing him interact with the other dogs outside and just when he passes the other animals and people, he's pretty social when it comes to people. Sometimes it takes him a little bit to warm up, as you'll see here. But dogs, he just wants to play, and so maybe with the dogs, other dogs that match his energy, and a dog savvy cat, I think he would do fine in a home. And same with kids, I think he's a gentle dog. He's just, the jumping would be the biggest thing, is working on that with younger kids. But he wants to be loved. He loves affection, and, another one that is just happy to be pet all day.
He's adorable.
He's a sweetie. He's kind of got I don't know if you'll be able to see, but he kind of has, it's not really an underbite, but the way his coloring, it kind of looks like he has an underbite,
Yeah.
which it just gives him a unique characteristic to him. And next we have May. She's another long stay resident. You've probably seen her a few times. She's been with us since May. Early May she came in. She is an Akita mix, and she's just about a year old now, so she's still a baby. And some of her personality is a lot of puppy characteristics. A dog that really didn't have any structure, so she kind of ran the household in her last home, but she likes to learn and she wants guidance. Even just bringing her in and out when she'll try to, test you with jumping, and, she can be a little mouthy, being overstimulated and excited, because that's just how dogs communicate,
Yeah.
and her breed is like that. But she's, as soon as you correct her and, you show her what you want, she tunes in very quickly. So there's a lot of potential with her, and I think especially people that know the breed, I think she's going to be a lot of fun. And she's so sweet. I mean, she is another one, loves attention. I mean, she will sit there. She coated my shirt with her hair. But she is absolutely a lovely dog, and we have volunteers that take her off site on a regular basis, and they just say how much fun she is. She's just another one that's great to get you outside, a good one to motivate you to get outside and get your walks in, but she also is pretty happy to just hang out and play with toys, interact with you outside. She just likes that one-on-one with people.
If
for
anyone
sure.
is feeling like with these temperatures coming down too, it's so much more comfortable to be outside.
Oh, yeah.
The summer was really hot for walking this year, unless you did it really early or really late.
Exactly.
If people are thinking about getting back into a walking program or hiking or anything, it just seems like you've got a lot of good candidates here for taking out.
Absolutely. If you need motivation, we've got a lot of candidates. Even just volunteering, if you need an excuse to get outside.
Yes.
Our dogs are always looking for extra outdoor time to get some
Right, for
exercise.
folks who may not have dogs of their own to walk, or maybe live in an apartment, don't have a
Exactly.
place where they can do things like that. It's a wonderful opportunity.
And they always love it, and it's so good for them, and it's good socialization too. But she's a good girl. I'm excited to see when she finds her perfect family. I think it's going to be a really
Yeah,
good fit.
she's really well cared for, and she's doing just fine. But I mean, since May is
It's a long time.
long enough to
Be nice to get her out of there before the holidays, for sure.
Absolutely, she's earned her family.
Absolutely. So next we are actually going to move on to cats, and we only have a couple cats right now. The first one is Sock. So Sock is just over 2 years old. She is a domestic short-haired. She's usually a lot more outgoing. I think when this was being recorded, she was waiting for her breakfast patiently, so she was a little more mellow. Usually, as soon as you walk in the cat room, she's the first one to greet you, rubbing on you, just loves people.
Her expression staring down the camera like that.
Yes. I think she was expecting some cat food to come in with
Yeah,
it, part
instead
of the
of a
deal.
lens.
Yes. So I think she's a little confused, but as soon as our volunteer walked in with some food, she came pouncing down. But she's good with other cats. She's a pretty chill girl, very social. She's another cat that I think, would do best in a quieter environment, but she's pretty easygoing, so I think she would do well in a lot of different homes, which makes her, a pretty fun companion, I think. Next we have Beyonce. So Beyonce is about 5 years old, and she is domestic long hair, very, very pretty cat. She does kind of match her. She's a bit of a diva. So, she does get along with other cats as long as they respect her space. We don't know how she does with dogs, but I think it will go the same way as long as you have a pretty cat savvy dog. I think she'll be fine with them. Mm-hmm. Same with kids. She needs her space. Things are usually done on her terms, but she is pretty social when she's feeling up to it. But definitely a more independent personality, and just, a quieter home where she can, when she has her own space is definitely best for her. But I think, once you give her that time and she knows she has the safety, she does like to kind of come out and socialize when she's feeling it. Very pretty girl, though.
She is pretty.
Another one who she got excited when she got her little snack in the morning. So before that, she was kind of hunkered down, hiding away. So
she does have a little bit of that sort of regal quality of the queen, right?
Absolutely. She does live up to her name for sure. And next, we're going to move on to our small, starting off with a bonded pair of guinea pigs. We have Happy Feet and Princess. So the first one here is Happy Feet. She is a silky guinea pig, so she's got a really pretty coat to her. Both of these girls are under a year old, so they both did come in together, so they will need to go home together. But she is, I think, the more outgoing and curious of the two, but they both are going to need, continuous handling, and that can be done with, using treats and veggies to kind of get them used to you. And as you see, they're a little nervous with the camera, but she's definitely both curious. So next we'll have Princess. As you'll see, she's going down.
They have a nice little
nice little setup.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see she kind of comes up and wants to say hello, but a little nervous. But then you got Princess kind of hunkered down over there in the corner. So she's a little more timid. She's just your American guinea pig, so she's shorter coat, but definitely. They're really fun to have.
It's nice for them to have each other for company, too.
Especially when they're young, and if one is a little more outgoing, they can kind of feed off each other, and definitely young enough that you could easily, handling them on a regular basis, they're going to be a lot more social and family friendly for sure. But they're fun to listen to. They don't make a ton of noise, but they're, when you get those veggies out or they hear the veggies, they'll harmonize together.
Yes, they make the cutest sounds when
do.
they see their veggies.
And then next we have our trio of birds. We've got Bowie, Elvis, and Ozzy.
Oh, they're still here.
Yes, they are. They did get adopted, but unfortunately the dog in the house was not a fan.
Oh.
So it was just not fair for them. So they were brought back. So they're back looking for probably, another home, or a home where they have some peace and quiet and aren't getting, no one's going to be harassing them. And they're pretty lively birds. They kind of become background noise. You get used to them, but anyone who likes they just chatter. They're not loud or anything, but they just like to chatter throughout the day. And they're all three males. They get along well with each other, so they do all have to go out together.
3 parakeets is nothing compared to even one loud parrot.
Absolutely.
It's just like you said. It's just like kind of a sweet little background melody. I think it's charming.
It is nice.
I don't mind
and,
hearing
and they're
it
just
at all.
chat with each other throughout the day. And, towards the end of the day or when it is quiet, they do kind of mellow out and they will kind of quiet down. So I think they're very good at adjusting to your routine. So when we're lively at the shelter, they're up and lively, chattering about. So they're fun to have around, and they're getting more comfortable with people. And when we're cleaning and things like that, they're getting used to us. So they're a little more.
Yeah, and the nice thing about birds is if it's getting later and it's time for bed, you can cover them,
Yep,
and they'll quiet
absolutely.
right down, and then you just pull their cover off in the morning, and
Yep.
they're ready to go. So
They learn their routine pretty quickly.
they
which
do.
Is
They
nice.
can accommodate or acclimate to the family that they're in. So
Absolutely.
they sure would be some nice company though too for someone maybe who's a
Yeah.
little older or alone, or it could be
And-
nice company
And
as
they're
well.
pretty easy, low maintenance. I mean, of course, they have their requirements and certain things, but overall, they don't take up a lot of space. And, especially when someone who wants a little bit of that companionship and maybe they don't have a ton of room or they don't want the, responsibility of a larger animal, these guys, both these three and the guinea pigs can make really good companions for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. If you have a sort of a more non-traditional housing type situation,
Absolutely.
as long as you can speak with your landlord about it, those kinds of pets are
Make
typically
really good options for
can be
sure.
okay. Yes.
And right now, that is what we've got up for adoption.
Oh well, it's quite a selection. And when
Yes.
Andrew came back from filming, he said the smaller selection, not smaller selection, but smaller dogs
Yes.
this time. So I know a lot of times people are looking for smaller dogs, and you have quite a selection.
We do, and they do tend to go pretty quick, which is, that's why we always recommend always check our website, give us a call, let us know. Because these smaller dogs, they're not tiny, but they're in what we call schmedium.
Schmedium.
So they kind of fall in that perfect little, between that 15, 30 pounds, where a lot of people, they can live in smaller areas, they're easier to kind of bring with you, the portable size.
Yes.
They'll.
And yet you're not afraid that you're going to hurt them
Exactly.
by stepping on them.
And they're still, they're still going to get you out and about, and, the exercise. You can still do a lot of the fun things you can with, maybe
Absolutely.
a larger dog, but, and, they're all they're all young, and they're a good assortment of little ones for sure, as far
Yes.
as different personalities, but they're all very sweet, and they love people, and have a pretty good, they'll mesh in with a lot of different types of homes, which is really nice for them.
Yeah, so right now it seems like you have quite a few dogs, less cats, or are there more
Up for
to
adoption
come?
at least. Yeah, we've got quite a few right now that are kind of waiting on, spay and neuter. Maybe they're on some medication and they're just not quite ready to go home officially.
Right.
And so they're kind of in a holding pattern, if you will. So they get socialized on a regular basis, but they just aren't up for adoption for the public
Right.
quite yet.
So
but-
who you have is always changing. The
Yeah.
numbers are always changing. So sometimes people have something very specific in mind. It never hurts to give a call.
Absolutely,
or
yeah, and we do, we have kind of what we call a matchmaking program, and, we're, basically, if you have a very specific, we can never guarantee, and we never know what we're gonna have come in the door, but, at least, if this specific animal does come in, we are able to give you a call and say, hey, Fido walked in the door and he matches, he's between, he's 15 pounds, he's this kind of personality, if you wanna, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but at least, we try our best to try to make those connections, and, we wanna find the best fit for these animals, and we also wanna find the perfect match for the community.
Absolutely. And sometimes people come in with something very specific in mind, and something
Some-
else happens.
Sometimes you fall in love, you see an animal online, and, you are set on that animal, and you come in and you meet someone else, and, that's
Chemistry, right?
Exactly, and sometimes pictures can only tell so much, and, that's part of the adoption center staff's role, is to kind of help counsel and find the best fit, and not
Yes.
just go off of, a picture, or what you think going into it, what you're looking for versus.
Your lifestyle,
Lifestyle,
their
absolutely.
temperament, their needs, like all of
Absolutely.
that needs to kind of mesh together.
It's got to be a good matchmaking process,
Absolutely.
and so, then they're more likely to be, we want that to be a lasting match and the animal, that to be their forever home. And sometimes it doesn't always work out, and that's okay, but, we do our best to make it so they only go home once, and then that's their home.
Yeah, I'll never forget, I went in one time to adopt a kitten, and I was looking at the cage of kittens, and this older cat took its paw and poked it through the cage and tapped me on the head.
Chose you.
It was like, hello, pay attention to
Yep.
me. And as soon as I did pay attention to her, I was like, that's my cat.
Yep.
Spent
It's
some
funny.
time with her, and no kitten for me. Just,
Yeah.
it's-
It's funny how sometimes people will be, come in thinking they're going to choose the animal, and then they'll walk out and they'll be like, you know what? This one chose me.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it just works out. And
Yeah.
he was telling you that you didn't need a kitten that day.
That's right. Yeah, and so let serendipity happen is what I always like to think
Absolutely.
in life. Like, we can plan and plan and plan and plan, but let that little bit of serendipity happen, because that's
Absolutely.
usually where the magic happens.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, that's the way to go through if you're going to have animals in general, is you got to have that, things may not go as planned, things you just got to roll with it.
Chances are they won't.
Yes, most of the time they don't.
That's
and you just
right.
got to roll with it and, adjust to whatever happens. And, that's kind of, life happens. And that's why, one reason we're here is a shelter, when, to be a resource for people. And then, a resource from both when people have a situation where they need us to take care of their animals. And then people come to us for animals. And, we do our best to try to help everyone we can. And then
I love the way you talk about that, because I think oftentimes people are afraid, or they feel there's a stigma attached, or they're ashamed.
yeah.
But we all know that life happens sometimes,
Absolutely.
and situations sometimes happen that are beyond our control.
100%.
And we don't always plan for those things, they just happen.
Exactly.
So-
And it's, a lot of the times it's not an easy decision for people.
Right.
But that's why we're here. We're here to be that resource and, to provide that home, temporary home for these animals, and get them healthy and try to get to know them while they're with us, and then
Yeah.
do our best to figure out what kind of home is going to be best suited, and then,
Look for
help-
that happy ending on the other
Exactly.
side. Yeah.
Exactly. Just a new chapter for them, ultimately.
Absolutely.
And hopefully the last chapter for them.
We always hope.
Yeah.
So what else can we do? We've talked about volunteering. There's always fostering if people can't adopt at this time. But if you are looking to adopt, obviously you can come on in or look at the website, give a phone call. But what are other things people can do? They can, when they're out shopping, there's things they can pick up and drop
Absolutely.
off.
Yeah, I mean, our wish list is it changes on a regular basis, but there's some things that we always need. I mean, some of those things are, we're always in need of pill pockets for dogs, Nyla bones, which are just really good, rugged toys that they can play with in the kennels, just because they are, overnight, they aren't, no one's there overnight, so giving them something to do. And then, right now, actually, we need cat litter, so we use pellet cat litter, so you can either find it in wood or paper form, and you can find that, actually, it's on our wish list. You can find it on Amazon, you can find it on Chewy. Some grocery stores also carry it, and pet stores, local pet stores will also carry it. Those are things that we need right now. Bedding, we're always in need of, especially going into the colder time of year. Sometimes we use a little bit more just to keep animals a little bit more cozy. And, it's kind of that time of year where the nights are a little bit cooler and the mornings are a little bit chillier. So, anything like that, we're always in need of.
Yeah, so if this is the time of year where people maybe start to switch their clothing around or switch their linens around,
Yeah.
change their bedding around because it's
Absolutely.
getting colder, so that might be the time to look for things that they could bring over to keep the animals comfortable. I would encourage folks to look at the website, because there's always things that maybe you don't take, so
Yeah.
you don't want to have to make the shelter have to pay for
Absolutely.
disposing of things that you can't use. So, good. This has once again been a really great conversation.
Absolutely.
You have some lovely animals up for adoption.
A
All
wide
kinds.
assortment for sure, and
Yes,
it's nice
including
we've got
little
some-
smalls.
Absolutely, which is really fun. I mean, I grew up with guinea pigs, and I know people that are looking for those, different animals, and sometimes we don't always have them. So it's really nice that we've got a good assortment of
You really do.
all sorts of personalities there. So whatever you're looking for, we probably have it.
Hard to believe after the summer we've had, but
Yeah.
we'll go into a long winter, and it sure would be
Yep.
nice to have some companionship.
Absolutely. And we've-
Somebody warming your feet, maybe.
Exactly, and or warming your lap for some of these guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you so
Of
much
course,
for
thank
coming.
you
We
for
wish
having
a
us.
happy home and a
Yeah.
wonderful recovery for Dawson.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, and thank you for watching Pet Partners.